Three. Facebook Live, baby.
Hi.
You nervous?
I'm super nervous
Okay,
right now.
microphones are going on.
And welcome back to Talk Recovery, Vancouver's Co-op Radio, CFRO 100.5 FM. Thank you for tuning in and supporting our show and our message, and also those of you on Facebook. And today it's another personal story in the studio today. Special guest, Amy. What's up, Amy?
Hi, how are you?
Nervous, Amy?
I'm super
You know what?
nervous.
There's nobody that's ever come in here to share their personal story that didn't feel a little nervous, whether it's because you got a microphone in your face or Giuseppe's throwing his camera in your face. I even get a little nervous sometimes, right? But you know what? Like, it's always just the idea that somebody is listening, somebody is inspired. Shout out to all the Amy supporters that are tuning in right now. I don't know who you are, but you know who you are, and I'm sure Amy knows who you are.
I know who you are, and I'm watching while you're watching.
Again, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Well, just right off the bat, like, why are you an addict? Why did you become an addict? Do you have your own theory?
There's no rhyme or reason why I'm an addict. It's just like it happened, it accumulated, right? Like unresolved feelings, past trauma, right? Mm-hmm. Why I became an addict is because I made up excuses for myself to self-loathe and to stuff, right? Mm. So
yeah, and then adds addictive drugs, substances.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, So what do you think was missing in your life at the time where, you know, those unresolved feelings and emotions are taking over, they're sort of becoming self-destructive? Like, do you think there could have been a intervention of some form? Like, if you could go back and put something in place that you think could have deterred, you know, substance use, what do you think it could be?
I know for a fact that it was my voice, right? Like if I felt like my voice was worth being heard, then I would have voiced what was wrong. Like, Mommy, I'm being treated bad at school, or I feel different than, or, why does this happen at home, and does it happen in other homes, right? Like, I just felt like a series of events that have happened were not worth being heard because they were almost frowned upon.
And so many questions during those times that aren't sort of answered, just questions rolling around in your head that you sort of make up your own ideas about, I guess, as we're growing up, you know. And I think it's important to sort of notice that and think back. Even though a lot of the narrative that we have when we get clean is, I wouldn't change anything. But I know, it's sometimes very specific circumstances in my life, if this person could have said this to me, you know what I mean? If I had asked this question out loud, you know, would I have gotten some insight at the time to allow some understanding at least as to what's going on?
I definitely... I wouldn't change anything for the world. No. If I had the opportunity to change things in my life, I definitely would. Mm-hmm. The life that I'm living right now, it's I love it, and I'm learning from it, right?
No doubt.
So, in my past, do I wish and hope that things would have been different? For sure, right? I mean, it would have stopped a lot of pain and a lot of hurt, and I would change a lot of things, but right now it's I can't, and I will never be able to, and I have learned to be okay with that.
That's amazing, that there does become a resolve to all of that stuff that we carried along.
Exactly.
What were you addicted to? What were your addictions?
Mine was a lot of pills and cocaine. And then after pills became like a heroin addiction.
Okay.
So
What do you think? How old are you?
28.
That was awesome.
So
You answered that so well. Like, yeah, it's always such an offensive question, but it puts perspective, right? Like, so, you know, with the, like, we talked a little bit about at the beginning of the show, like the fentanyl craze that's going on, and it seems to me that, you know, back in the day, there was this sort of like what fentanyl is now, a brown heroin. Like, it was the drug that you're gonna die from. You know, it's usually not the first drug people use,
no,
right?
it's not like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do fentanyl for fun this weekend.
But it seems nowadays pills are the deadly thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you begin pills sort of because it was like, oh, it's a pill. It comes in a bottle. It's safe. It's easy to take. Like,
I definitely justified it by it's more acceptable to the world rather than, oh, I'm gonna pick up a bag of like brown stuff from the dealer, right? So, like, definitely, like, I have heard in recent interviews that Giuseppe had, like it's not, oh, I lost my train of thought. Wow, that happens often.
Yeah.
Like, pharmaceuticals are just as bad as street drugs, right? Like, it's the gateway to downtown East Hastings or downtown Surrey or downtown Maple Ridge, or even in like your closest community, right?
absolutely.
So
Yeah. So how long did you use pills before you really sort of sank into addiction?
I would say like about 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah. So you can get like a good amount of time thinking, I got this under control. I'm not like anybody that needs help or treatment at this point. And sort of you can carry on.
I mean, I came from, I shouldn't say I came from, like, I just thought mine wasn't worse, right? Like, I was still living at home. I still had a job. I still had friends. Like, I was still getting up at a certain hour. Like, I had my ABC 1, 2, 3, and like when I seen people that were out on the streets, like that's what I had assumed as being like the fall down, right?
Right, somebody who needs help. Or
Exactly.
An addict, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's a big part of our continued message, and someone like you coming in is to share that that's not it.
No,
and that keeps an individual sick for so long, believing that there's like this vast difference.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just funny. Like, we talk about the people at the front door quite often when we come in. It's just
I've seen that. That's so sad.
I mean, it is. It is sad, and you feel sort of helpless for them. And as I literally step over them to get into the building, it's like I wasn't in that doorway, but I was doing exactly what they're doing in my mom and dad's basement.
Exactly.
You know, and that sort of philosophy that carries on, it makes it difficult to get well, right? So did you fight that when you finally found yourself needing treatment and getting clean, that you were still someone that was different then or not as bad as?
It definitely took time. Like, it took me to, like, you know, finally wake up and look at what my life was. And it's like, can I say today I don't feel like I was any different? Yeah, I can say that I'm not different. Like, addiction, no matter what it looks like, it's still addiction, right? Like, no matter if I'm still living at home, if I still have my own home, my own car, my job, like a visa, like whatever, right? Like, it's the same hurt, it's the same struggle.
Yeah.
So no, I'm no different.
So what was sort of like the worst of it before, you know, you saw any change? What was the worst time for your life?
The worst time was being living in a hotel room with someone that I didn't love and that I was beginning to hate. And, you know, it, like, abuse is definitely abuse was definitely something that happened to me, and that woke me up to being like, I need to change something or else I will die. If it's not from the drugs, it's from, you know, the abuse that that was happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
And what was it that got you to do something for, like, to ask for help or to seek help?
So it was like early in the morning. Like I have no fear in telling what happened, right? It was early in the morning, and you know, I had suffered from traumatic abuse, and that's when I was like, I'm done. I'm over this. I can't do it, right? And it wasn't really like the drug abuse, it was the abuse.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to change that. So I called someone that I became very close to, that today I can call, like my sister, and she picked me up, and she's like, you can't do this anymore and you need to see your mother, right? So I seen my mom, and like seeing her on Christmas morning was like the first time I seen her in like a year and a half. Really made me like think and look at my life, like I need to change something, right? Like I'm not hurting myself, I'm hurting the one person that I never wanted to hurt my entire life. And it's like, that's when I was like, I need to seek help.
And it's so, like, usually those days are the catalysts, you know, you're with someone where just you couldn't feel any more ashamed of yourself.
I was so ashamed.
Feel any more guilt.
Yeah.
And those are usually a couple of the most important, you know, sort of emotions that we continue to use. And it's like, you know, sometimes we're not thinking through this, like, oh, I want to get help, I want to change my life, but I just did not feel like that when looking at mom anymore, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And so did you go to treatment, like, right then?
I didn't go to treatment right then. Like, I needed somewhere to stay, and my mom had put up a boundary with me, like, you can't stay at my house.
Okay.
Like, you have been involved in dangerous activities, and like, I do not want danger around my house.
And how did you respond to that? At the time?
At that point, I was not willing to be in self-pity. In that time, I understood, and in that time, I was like, okay, what can we do?
Right.
So I was able to stay at my aunt's house. It's like my mom's best friend, one of them. So I stayed there, and she had some resources, and she gave me like a pamphlet and of numbers to call. So I called some numbers, and like my mom took me to one place that was like way out in the valley. It was Christian based, and I wasn't really, like, I really haven't found God, or the God of my understanding, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't really willing to like do a Christian based treatment center. So I went on, and like I found what fit for me, because of course it's like what fits for me, right? Like,
Wow.
I'm still kind of like,
Actually seeking for help, though. I mean,
I'm
it's
seeking for help,
respectful,
but
because usually it's like, no, not here, because this. It's just excuse after excuse. There
Exactly.
isn't anywhere that's gonna fit, right?
like none of those places fit for what I need or what I want.
Right. They won't let me keep using every day.
Exactly. Or they won't let me keep my cell phone. Like, I can't have that. How am I supposed to look at my notifications, right?
Yeah, right.
Not like
So-
I had any anyway.
So what did you decide on?
I decided to go to a treatment center. I don't know if we're allowed to just.
You can say.
I went to the Westminster House Society for Women,
Mm-hmm.
and like I did a walkthrough first, and what I seen was like what I felt was warmth, and what I felt and what I seen was unity. And for me, it's like the only warmth I felt recently is like the hug of my mother. And yeah, so like I said, okay, like that's it, this is the one. Like, I really didn't have any other choice anyways, right? Like, I need to do something. So I went to the Westminster House, and it was really scary.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know what I was doing. And, like, it makes me emotional right now because, like, it's so weird. Like, after 5 years, I can still see the couch that I was sitting on. You know, I can still, like, I can still see and recollect what happened in that first few days, right? And when that happened, I literally did not know what life was or what my purpose was, right?
Yeah.
So I was like a lost little girl, basically.
Hey, let's say it for what it is. You notice that it's warm and welcoming and there's good people and there's unity there. That doesn't mean it's comfortable and I'm excited and I'm raring to go and willing. Like, it's terrifying because even in the most perfect environment that you cannot deny, you know, or you get like this instinctive feeling that the hardest change and emotional process is about to begin. I'm gonna have to take a look at myself. I'm gonna have to do this without any numbing agents.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, you know, that's why I say, oh, that doesn't work, because a lot of us just say, you know what, I'm not willing to go through with this right now. I can't do it. I don't believe I can do it, and bail, and don't push through. So you push through. And what's it like today? I mean, like, what's your life like today?
It's more freeing. It's more like, you know, I know what I'm doing. Like it's not terrible, but then again, it's like I know, and there's no excuse, and like, you know, I have to look at what I'm doing in my day-to-day life, and like, you know, make that inventory of like what I did wrong and what I did right, and what I can do better tomorrow. And like, do I need to make amends to these people? It's like, so it's like not insanity, but it's like it's weird, this life that we live today.
I can relate to it. It's the notion of having to be responsible for everything.
I hate being responsible.
Right? Because
but
if
I love it at
addiction,
the same time.
if we can summarize addiction beyond the drugs, it is like a life just without having to be responsible for anything.
Yeah.
And there is like a sick little feeling of freedom in that, but it's a kind of heavy cost, right? There's a different freedom with taking responsibility.
You know, that like freedom is like that free spirit, and it's not even a spirit, but then it's like I'll go to jail if I want to be free for like 10 seconds, right? Or it's like today it's like I'll be free forever if I make the right choice, right?
And so how do you live your life to ensure or to have some faith that you're not at risk of relapse?
Honestly, humbly, spiritually, I don't know, just like I do what I've been told to do.
It's amazing, hey, how it becomes a life that isn't like this, oh no, I gotta make sure I don't relapse today and not go down that street, not take that left, and oh no, like just stay in a bubble in a foam padded room, right? Like,
Yeah, no.
you know, like, do you feel like you can go anywhere in the world today?
I don't have any fear in going places. Like, you know, I'm a Surrey girl, and like when I moved into New West, like people were like, I was like, oh, I'm gonna move back to Surrey, and people were like, no, don't do that. I'm like, why? But like, it's like you're not ready for that yet, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm still tender to like those triggers.
Yeah.
But like I live in Surrey right now, and I don't have any fear, right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm not fear based, right?
Some growth needed to occur over
exactly.
the time for it to become something like that.
Yeah.
So there's someone that's your age, that's the similar story right now. What would you say to them struggling right now?
I don't know. Like usually my best words are actually like in the moment it happens, right? So like sitting here, like putting myself in that position, like I would say it's kind of like like find help, but it's like how that's not really easy
I know.
nowadays, right?
Yeah.
And like and I catch myself saying that a lot too, like you just need help, you just need treatment. It's like no, like if someone were to have said that to me, it's like I would still be lost with those words, like where, how, right? You know, I would just like say, are they willing? And if you're willing, then you need to follow me and trust me that you will live a better life than what you're living now.
Well said. Well said. Amy, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This
See, it
is
was
like
easy, wasn't
it
it?
was easy. It was the fact that like it's been a dream for me to do something like this, and it's
Nice.
like I'm finally living it.
And now you're going to be captured on Facebook, and you can have this for you and watch it again over and over again.
Yes.
And we'll have you back again too. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Make sure you give your shout outs on the Facebook page. And thanks for tuning in to Talk Recovery. We'll see you all soon on Vancouver Co-op Radio, CFRO 100.5 FM. And this is a little Vancouver's Ben Sinister. Things will get better.
All right, that's it, everybody. Thanks, Amy.
Yay!
Thanks, Darren.